Hello folks, welcome to another edition of Kev's Workshop. I'm out in my workshop once again, and this locomotive is the Sierra number 3, well known Hollywood locomotive, and somebody may or may not recognise this actual scene from the opening title scenes of Petticoat Junction. The song that goes with it, yeah, doesn't matter, I won't go through it. But anyway, if you're interested in railways and railway modelling, this particular locomotive, back in its original days, that's it there. Sierra number 3 as built. You notice she has a straight stack chimney, and she was more of a coal burner, I believe, in a day. But Tyco and Mantua, or Tyco, that section became Mantua, did this very model in HO scale. Now, this very locomotive has been used in a number of TV films and movies, or should I say TV series and movies. Namely, a person that may have been forgotten is Alan Hale, skipper of the SS Minnow in Gilligan's Island. Drove this loco, or supposedly drove the locomotive, in the early 1970s edition of Casey Jones, a show I used to love watching. Well, up here is the Tyco Mantua model, which I'm going through at the moment. I'm midway through the changes, and you'll see up here two other chimneys. That is the original chimney of another locomotive, another Sierra number 3, and from that I made this second chimney. You'll see the locomotive in a short while without this chimney on it. But this chimney will go back onto my other Sierra number 3 that I have. So this is a second Sierra number 3 in my collection of bits and pieces. And if I can just things on one side of that falling everywhere. Rightio. This particular Sierra number 3 I got back end of 2022. It was missing quite a few bits. If you look carefully, you'll notice it's missing the smoke box door, so I've painted the lead weight in black just to disguise it temporarily. I've got to replace the top of the headlight, which is missing. The chimney was snapped off and missing, so I'm now in the process of making a new chimney. It's also missing the steam dome, which I've now since machined up on my lathe using some solid rod plastic. So there's a exhaust to be put onto the steam generator, which is this little area in here. So it's snapped off, so I'm going to be putting a new exhaust on, and that took me quite a few hours to get this correct. So yes, under the ATSF, Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe, as you can see there, this one here, typical of Mantua or Tyco, they did these wood loads, and to me it's completely incorrect. But to show you what it looks like with it in, if you've got the, sorry about that folks, if you've got the actual model at home somewhere and this is the load you've got, that's more than likely correct. But I don't agree with the way that it's sitting. It looks too plastic, it just doesn't look right. So this is being changed out, along with many other changes. Now, if I go through my other bits and pieces, which I'm about to do some of the other bits. My original Sierra number 3 has been rebuilt, and if I come to here, that's the load that came out of my original Sierra number 3, which when you look at it as built, that would be correct. And it does have rivet detail in there, so it'll give you some idea if you happen to have one of these lying around. But these are highly sought after in HO scale, of course, because of one particular movie. So if I come down off my bench here, you might recall seeing video of this very famous locomotive. Yes, and I do have Doc on the side. His jacket I actually made up out of a piece of tissue, by the way. and then I've brush painted all the strokes of the wrinkles and so on. You notice she's missing the chimney at the moment because I've taken it out temporarily, because I'm using this loco as reference, and this is my first Sierra number 3 that I managed to score. So hard to get a hold of. So if I come around the back here, you can see I've actually made the roof hatch in the open position as per the movie, and I've added another little bit of detail onto the back. Just move the smoke out of the way, there we go. So you can see I've actually added the little circular ring. So that was all done because of the actual movie Back to the Future Part 3. So the wood load is haphazard, and when I look back on the original 1970s episode with Alan Hale of Casey Jones, or playing the part of Casey Jones, that's how the wood load basically was. Well, now I'm doing Petticoat Junction. So again, this is what I'm going to be achieving on the second Sierra number 3. And if I swing this around this way, you'll notice when you look onto here, there's a ladder on the left hand side of the back. Technically, according to the movie, the ladder's on the right hand side. So apart from this being on the wrong side of the loco, I'm not worrying about it. It's a minor technical bit if need be. But just to show you, this is beginnings of the load. And come back to here. That's how this wood load started off. Basically, I've got to add the stiffeners in underneath. So basically, if I can drop this in, that paint is still wet. Oh, come on. This is going to be dicky, this. Just bear with me a minute, folks. Let's try to push this back into where it's supposed to. There we go. So there you go. Yes, it's gloss at the moment. It's supposed to be satin. I've ran out of matte black, but that'll give you some idea. Now, in the movie or TV series of Petticoat Junction, it only ever hauled one coach. And there's the one coach. That's got to be done in, I think, Baltimore, Ohio green, for memory. It'll be an O green. It's like an army green colour with a grey roof. So with that, I can hopefully find you the right photo that I'm looking for. Oh, it's paper clock. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. I'm just not concentrating on where my camera's pointing at the moment. Okay. Let's put this down here a minute. There's another shot of the Hooterville Cannonball Express at the junction, you could say. Petticoat Junction wayside halt. Yes, the tune is going over in my head, I can tell you. So there's another shot of Sierra number 3. Now, you notice the chimney on this one is at a different angle. Typical Hollywood, it's a fake chimney around a real chimney. See the difference in taper. This one was done to suit Back to the Future number 3. Where this is what I've now got to make up. So the new piece I'll be making is going to follow this tall slender taper. Now, I'm just going to go through these printouts so you can get an idea what I'm working towards. I've got to do the white walls on these wheels, so I've got the wheels painted red at the moment, and I'll just swing back on up, and the wheels are painted red at the moment. I've got to get the white walls put on and the rods cleaned up a bit more. The cylinders, you notice there are red covers with brass front and rears. Right, it's a bit hard to see, but there you go. The brass covers front and rear, red cylinder covers, then there's the Brunswick green valve chest and black top. So therefore I'm trying to get it to be the correct way of doing things. These front axles, you notice, they're silver at the moment because I've cut the pinpoints off. Typical of Tyco Mantua, they didn't cut the pinpoints off. But let's come back down to this one here. See, they are actually white walls with red centres, and according to this, they're actually white centres on it. So, in any case, that is Petticoat Junction, Hooterville Cannonball Express, late 60s, early 70s, and there it is here coming together as my current project. Oops, I'll drop that bits of paper. There's a carriage in question. Now, let's have a look here, and I'll swing this up. I'll drop this in behind here. There's the carriage. Curved roof, curved ends in all directions. You've got 4 windows down the back, baggage section up front. So therefore, the Shady Rest Hotel. And let's have a quick sticky here, see if I can bring this up. I've got to make all this yet. Shady Rest Hotel. That was their personal station they had, which is just up the line a little from the actual real station in the TV series, of course. C&FW Railroad. Now, typically made up for the TV series. But look at how this wood heap is. And this is of importance. It's haphazard. It goes right front to back. You can't see the back of the tender because it's just overloaded with timber. But you see it's all haphazard, all over the place. Well, that's what this is going to end up like. You won't be able to see that divider, you won't be able to see the water hatch a great deal. But if we come back briefly to Back to the Future Sarah number 3, that gives you an idea of what I'm going to be working from. Yes, you can just see the water hatch, only just make out where the divider is, but that haphazard wood, which is actually gum tree sticks of all things, and they've been sliced and snapped and put into place and glued each individual piece. Yeah, it did take a while to do. And because it does come down the front, and spill out down the front, so that is the end result, which starts life like that. So that gives you some idea on that. So coming back to here, you can see the carriage, you can see the back of the tender. In the back you see the water tower. And there's water tower at the back. I've got to try and make that and the Shady Rest Hotel station and do this as a diorama. This is the view looking from the front of the Shady Rest Hotel. That's the pathway going down to the where the train would pull up 99% of the time. Another 10% or 1% occasionally at the station. So that's the trailing view. It shows the beautiful scenery there in America. So this is what my project is overall, and in trying to get things done correctly, you can see what I'm working towards. She's a beautiful locomotive, especially if she's preserved and looked after. You can still see here the domes, the bell. You can see all this sort of detail work. It's not necessarily the best of quality photos, or perhaps the fact that when I got it off the internet, like all these other photos, yeah, the quality of the upload is one thing, but the resolution that it's been put on the internet is all I can get. So folks, there's a little train coming down the track, come to the junction, Petticoat Junction. Sorry, I'm not going to go through it properly with you. But the essential part of this video, I want to show you how I can turn something that looks like I don't know, a total mess into something that's going to look like that. Now it's a bit hard to notice, a bit hard to see, but the way I achieve this, I get the overall diameter and add a few extra scale feet to it, or six inches at least. So this one here is about 12 layers of plastic done exactly like that. So I'm replicating what I've done before. So technically you're going to see something goes from chunks of plastic layered up, about 12 layers worth, and it's going to come up like this. How am I going to achieve it? Not in the conventional way. One of my most handiest tools I have at my workshop, apart from all these other tools, the trusty Dremel. Now this is a 300i, multiple speed. Alright, typical Dremels are noisy, and my trusty cut-off wheels. Now these are the 109s for memory. I'll just confirm that with you. I've got to stack up here. Let's come up over here. Dremel cut-off wheels. 36 pieces. Now 409s, there you are. That's what I'm using not a lot of the time. At least 90% of it anyway. And I'll tell you what, when you come to the Dremel, these are about your best you can get. So yeah, again 300i. You got your little locking point here to lock the chuck while you undo the collet. Take things out, put things in this case the 409 cut-off wheels. And as I said, they're very thin, and it's just done some work recently because I've just machined this up out of solid rod plastic. And the Dremel is what I used to get the results I needed. So it's hard to display or show or whatever, but using that cut-off wheel I actually use it just like cutting a key. You watch those people cut keys in the shops and key places, well there you go. This one here I fill by notch, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So 6 different positions there. So yeah, 6 different positions. I usually start off about halfway. Has to be a safe mark. Then I can slow it down a little or up a little, depending which way I need to go. So the next shot, I'm going to be taking this chimney out and putting it in my lathe, and then hopefully I'll be able to show you how it's done. Okay, brief look at my lathe before I put anything into it. Yeah, it's got all mifid. I can't remember if it's an ML7 or Super 7. It's been modified. I got this second hand many years ago. But it's got custom gearing on the back end. The whole section of extra gears that came with it. The stand. Even the back end had been modified by the previous owner. So the tailstock's a little bit different to the standard. So I'll be putting into there in a moment. So yeah, got the clutch to engage, disengage, the belt tensioner, the back. Yes, the actual cover, it's supposed to be across here, is all missing. But yeah, you got the 3 speeds. And there you got the extra dual speed there. All your carriage gears for the lead screw. So yes, this is my mifid lathe, and I just finished cleaning it up a little while ago, and it's after making a bit of a mess. So basically this chimney was made in this lathe, and I'm going to do it the same way with this piece. So with it removed from the locomotive, you can now see the hole down the centre, roughly 1/8 brass tube through the guts of it. This is far from accurate. That's why I do things a little bit oversized, so that I can bring it down to the correct size as expected. Now I'm just trying to get this to sit just right so I can slot this in. Alright, let's do that up nicely for a bit. It's not too tight. Now, just engaging that, I'll put the motor on. That gives you an idea. I'm not too far out perhaps. But going from a square to an octagonal, and try to do this one hand holding the camera, one hand holding the Dremel. Now, the rotational differences, fix in the first notch. So from this point of view, the Dremel wheel's rotating clockwise. Normally I'll do this two hands. Just to give you an idea. Some different stops. A technique and method that no one else has ever shown you before, I'm sure. Top of the chimney, so we'll give you an idea how I'm going to be treating my machining. Now for those of you who've never seen this done before, or may not even accept it, I do have some pretty good results on it, that's for sure. I use the actual lathe tool because the dealing with plastic is one part of it. I'm just trying to concentrate on two different things at the moment. I'm just going through the last two layers. Trying to look over the camera, see what I'm doing. Move the carriage back, give you a little more access. Trying to give you guys the best view possible of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I'm a left-hander, so some of you may not hold that against me, but this actually works more for lefties. taper coming into it or not. I'm trying to do this single-handed rather than having the two hands I'm supposed to be doing. Move the load carriage out the way completely. There we go. Sorry folks again. You can see that taper coming into it, but there's definite taper on the end. So turning a square to an octagonal, octagonal to a round. These are the two main steps. Important thing to remember, people, please, safety. Alright? You can't get in, go to a different angle. And do this at a different angle altogether now. Why? Because it's safer, and I'm not going to lose my knuckle. I might do what I'm doing here. This is how I got the last one done. Those octagonals are coming round. Trying to get the best view for you. Apologise if I'm not. This will give you some idea. Once I put this paper in, like key cutting, people. So using the cut-off wheel to cut your profile on the key. It's almost like having your key in the lathe while your cutter is working. So you might not agree with what I'm doing it. You might not agree with the fact it's a safe or unsafe way. Importantly, this is a method that works for me. I'm just stopping for a brief moment so you can have a look at this. And also because of the noise. But you can perhaps see in amongst all this. Yep. Trying to do it so it's not so glary for you, but you can now sort of get some idea. Now these pieces are still not completely round yet, but the bits of black texture mark probably indicators for me. I'm just winding this over by hand for you, so hopefully you can get some indications. Going from a square to an octagonal, octagonal to a round. You can see all the different layers of plastic. You may or may not be able to see that taper on the top. But this is how I achieve my goals. Well, one of goals. one of many perhaps, but you know, even the powder that's left behind for the plastic, yes, it does make a bit of a mess. And yes, it is different to machining metal. If you're really good at your metalwork skills and you've got some brass rod, you can machine this up, not a drama. But for those of you who don't have the skills, for those of you who would like to know how this sort of thing is achieved using layers of plastic, this is how I do it. So you can see the result, the start and the end results, that is. And if you look carefully onto this chimney here, you may be able to still see the different layers of plastic. There we go, the camera's finally focused. Alright, that's sort of for me, the end result. Alright, so this all started life, same as that one, it's in the lathe. This is the way I made it look. Yes, you can still see the groove there, and in between the two different layers of plastic. So you got your top layer, your second layer down, and that's your top half of your cone. Not the top you can smoke, man. But below that, sorry, my sense of humour. Below that you can see the other 10 layers of plastic. Alright, so the little bit at the base is parallel turn, the rest is a cone all the way up. Now this is quite a broad diameter at the top. Okay, this will be a little smaller in diameter to allow for Petticoat Junction style chimney. I'm hoping this will actually give you some enthusiasm to go out and have a go at doing something like this. I hope I'm able to inspire people to do something. If you've got yourself a small lathe, whether it's a jeweller's lathe, a hobby lathe of any sort, this is one method you can try. Assumingly you don't have that access, if you know somebody who has a lathe and the skills, they could perhaps machine you up one. A better way of doing it is if you're really highly skillful and you're able to use AutoCAD or 3D programs, and you could draw it up on a computer, 3D print the damn thing, mate, that's half your battle. You won't need to do this. So those of you out there who are tech savvy, those who know how to work your way around a 3D computer program, you can draw it up, do it as a 3D print file, chuck up a Thingiverse, and we can all have a copy maybe. Just a thought. I haven't been able to see specific things like this, so that's why I'm doing it my way. This is perhaps old school scratch building, but by similar standards. You know, it's a method that I know, it's a method that I have used before, as you can see. And if I just bring this back into view again, that is the end result of what I'm trying to achieve. Done exactly the same way as I'm doing now for the Sierra number 3 Petticoat Junction chimney. This is the Back to the Future chimney. Alright, and it's not too bad. When it's running around the layout, you don't see these grooves, or at least I don't anyway. Only under the microscope by looking at the camera do you notice all these layers of plastic. So 12 layers top to bottom. That's how it starts life, just like this. I'm not going to bore you completely, sorry if I have, but this is just one method of making a chimney using layers of plastic, or what we call laminating a piece of plastic. I will come down to here again, and just to show you, each layer of plastic is around 1.5 to 2 mil thick. I think it's about 1.9 mil all up, but yeah, neither here nor there. But this will give you an idea at the beginning stages. So at least I'm hoping that there's someone out there like yourselves who has a project like this. You've got to make a chimney for a steam engine, old-time American will say you can't get the part. That's what this is all about. I can't get the chimney that I'm after, so this is why I'm making it, and I'm making it my way. This will take me a while to machine up, just like the steam dome on the Sierra number 3. And then once I've got the chimney in place, it'll get painted, and the rest of the loco will get painted properly. Very few modifications to do. So yeah, basically I'm hopeful that in another couple of hours time this will look the way I need it. I'll just change recording in a moment, and you'll be able to see our progress, which will be, I don't know, a few minutes later of course, but to you it'll be almost instantly. Catch you in a moment.